When I first met Lisa, I genuinely believed I had struck gold. She seemed to embody everything I'd ever imagined in a life partner: intelligent, driven, effortlessly engaging. Her humor wasn't just sharp, it was contagious. She could brighten any setting, transforming dull chatter into moments worth remembering. We were introduced at a dinner party through mutual friends. I still remember the moment she laughed, a loud, unrestrained laugh that made heads turn. That sound lodged itself in my memory. There was an ease in her presence, a natural confidence that made everyone around her feel seen. I was drawn to her instantly. She had this gravitational pull, and I didn't even think to resist. From that night, things escalated quickly. Within a matter of months, we were inseparable. Our weekends blurred into impromptu road trips, aimless drives, lazy coffee mornings, and intimate conversations about where life might take us. We created a rhythm, inside jokes, whispered secrets, and a quiet, mutual belief that what we had was something solid. Something enduring. Lisa's professional life was ascending fast. She thrived in the pressure of her corporate job, a demanding, high-stakes environment where she stood out effortlessly. She didn't need to fight for attention, it followed her. Colleagues admired her, superiors placed trust in her, and she made success seem like second nature. I was proud of her. I truly was. Watching her climb that ladder, I felt honored to stand beside her. My own journey looked very different. I owned a landscaping company, a business I built from scratch with my own two hands. It wasn't glamorous. It didn't come with accolades or sleek networking events. But it was mine. There was meaning in shaping wild, chaotic land into something orderly and beautiful. It grounded me. It gave me pride. Each project reflected dedication, persistence, and vision. Lisa often said she admired that about me. She loved that I wasn't part of the corporate grind, that I'd chosen to create something on my terms. She told me I inspired her. And I believed her. The change was subtle at first. The jokes started light, almost flirtatious. "You wouldn't get office drama," she'd say with a playful grin after venting about work. Or, "You're lucky you don't have to deal with endless spreadsheets." I laughed it off. I thought it was harmless. Just her way of unwinding. But then, the tone shifted. "Must be nice," she quipped one evening over dinner with friends, "playing in the dirt all day instead of stressing over deadlines." I chuckled along, but deep down, the words left a sting. Still, I brushed it off. I told myself it wasn't worth making a fuss. Maybe she didn't realize how it sounded. Maybe she was just tired. I clung to the idea that her admiration for me hadn't changed. Then I asked her to marry me. There was no elaborate setup, just the two of us at home, in a quiet moment that felt right. I opened up completely, told her how deeply I loved her, how excited I was to build a life together. She said yes. She smiled and kissed me, and for a while, things felt just like they used to. But the cracks were already forming. The real unraveling began at one of her company's formal events, an upscale gathering held at a posh venue, all low lighting, classical music, and tuxedoed servers offering hors d'oeuvres. Lisa had insisted I come. "You should meet the people I work with," she said. "See the world I live in." I wasn't exactly thrilled. Those environments weren't where I felt at ease. Still, I wanted to be there for her. So I put on my best shirt, smoothed my nerves, and walked into that world at her side. At first, things seemed to go smoothly. Lisa introduced me with grace, her hand resting lightly on my arm, her smile genuine. I smiled too, shook hands, made small talk. Then came the inevitable question, "So, what do you do?" The man asking was sharply dressed, probably early 40s, the kind who wore his wealth in subtle ways, a designer suit, a gleaming wristwatch. "I run a landscaping company," I said. "We focus on transforming outdoor spaces into something beautiful and functional." He nodded, eyebrows raising slightly, offering a courteous smile that felt hollow. Interesting. I let it slide. But as the night wore on, the pattern repeated. Every new face came with the same question, and my answer always earned the same restrained reaction, a polite nod, a forced grin, and quickly, a turn of conversation. Then Lisa joined in. Someone asked how we met, expecting a sweet anecdote. Instead of sharing our familiar story, she laughed and said, "Oh, he's my hardworking handyman." Everyone laughed. I didn't. I froze. Hardworking handyman. That was the title she gave me. Things spiraled from there. One of her coworkers, clearly emboldened by the open bar, cracked a joke about Lisa dating beneath her. She laughed. Really laughed. Like it was the punchline of the year. Then came the comment that broke me. Someone turned to her and asked if she thought my business might ever turn into something real. Lisa smirked. Who knows? Maybe one day he'll be landscaping for CEOs instead of retirees. The group erupted with laughter. I didn't even fake a smile. I looked at her, hoping for a glance that said she didn't mean it, that she saw how painful this was. But she wasn't even looking at me. She was basking in the attention. That was it. I think I've had enough, I muttered, placing my drink on the nearest table. Lisa looked at me, puzzled. Where are you going? Home, I said flatly. You can explain why to your friends. The car ride was silent. I kept my hands on the wheel, jaw clenched every moment from the night looping in my head. Back at home, I turned to her, my voice calm but firm. What the hell was that? She blinked, confused. What do you mean? You know what I mean, I said. The jokes. The digs. Laughing when they insulted me. Is that how you see me? She rolled her eyes. You're being dramatic. It was just a few jokes. I shook my head, anger rising. They made me feel like I didn't belong. And you didn't just let it happen, you joined in. Her expression softened for a second, but then she delivered the blow. It's not like your job is anything special, she said, tone flat. I mean, you mow lawns. What do you expect people to say? Something inside me broke. I exhaled slowly, my voice barely audible. Is that all you think I do? She didn't answer. I gave a slow nod, the weight of the moment sinking in. I can't do this anymore. She furrowed her brow. Do what? I motioned between the two of us. This. Us. This engagement. I can't marry someone who doesn't respect me. For a heartbeat, I thought she might offer an apology, some flicker of remorse. Instead, she folded her arms and said bluntly, fine. Maybe we shouldn't get married. I held her gaze, unwavering. Maybe we shouldn't, I said with finality. Without another word, I reached for the engagement ring, the one I had once given her with so much hope. I slid it off her finger and placed it gently on the kitchen counter. The metal felt cool in my hand, a sharp contrast to the warmth it had once symbolized. What used to be a token of love now felt like a relic, just another object. Goodbye, Lisa. And just like that, it ended. The days that followed came in a haze. One moment we were choosing venues and discussing color schemes, the next, it was like none of it had ever existed. No wedding. No future. Lisa was gone, out of my life as swiftly as she had come into it. At first, it didn't register. I found myself pausing at everyday sounds, expecting her to walk through the door with a breezy hey as if nothing had changed. I'd instinctively reach for my phone to send her a quick text, about a funny thought or a show we used to watch, only to stop myself, remembering there was no longer any reason to. But it was the silence that truly cut deep. The stillness of the house amplified her absence. The closet that once overflowed with her clothes now stood with hollow gaps. Somehow, an empty hanger could carry the weight of an entire relationship's ending. But the worst wasn't the loneliness. It was the unanswered questions. Had she ever really loved me? Did she always see my work as beneath hers? And if so, why agree to marry me at all? These thoughts would echo in the quiet hours, demanding answers I didn't have. I threw myself into work. Landscaping had always brought me pride. But now, it became a lifeline. A place where I still had control, where results came from sweat and effort, not from navigating someone else's opinion. Each transformed lawn, every blooming garden, became a statement. Proof that what I did mattered. That I mattered. My friends didn't hesitate to step in. Over drinks one evening, one of them shook his head and said, "She didn't deserve you, man. You're way better off." It was one of those phrases you hear after a breakup. Familiar. Recycled. But this time, I needed it. Sometimes, clichés are exactly what you lean on when the world feels upside down. My family had my back too. My mother, never shy about her opinions, listened quietly as I told her what happened. Then she shook her head, her voice sharp with conviction. She must have been blind not to see what she had. Bit by bit, I began to rebuild myself. I picked up running again, something I hadn't done since college. The early morning streets, the cool wind in my face, the rhythmic beat of my shoes on pavement, it was healing in ways I hadn't expected. I started journaling too. Pouring everything onto the page, the lingering bitterness, the confusion, the quiet grief. Seeing it all in black and white made it less intimidating, more digestible. Then, one evening while scrolling through social media, I saw her. Lisa. She was at a professional event, dressed impeccably, smiling into the camera with a glass of champagne in hand, surrounded by colleagues. For a fleeting second, emotions stirred, anger, sorrow, maybe nostalgia. But just as quickly as it arrived, it passed. It didn't matter anymore. She had her life. I had mine. And for the first time since our split, I felt something unfamiliar, peace. 6 months went by, and my business took off. What had started as a distraction became the most successful stretch of my career. My work began attracting high-end clients, people with reach and influence. One job led to another, and before long, I was handling large-scale projects with generous budgets. My confidence grew with every completed design. The pain of the breakup? It had become fuel. Then, out of nowhere, Lisa contacted me. A message from an unfamiliar number lit up my phone. "Hey, it's Lisa. Can we talk?" My gut reaction was to delete it. What could she possibly want now? But curiosity is hard to ignore. After a moment, I typed back. "What do you want?" She didn't waste time. "I've been thinking about everything. I want to say I'm sorry." We agreed to meet at a quiet cafe we used to frequent. She was already seated when I arrived, tucked into a corner, hands wrapped around a coffee cup. She looked different, exhausted, maybe even lost. "Thanks for coming," she said as I took a seat. "What's this about, Lisa?" I asked, my tone steady. She hesitated, fingers nervously tracing the rim of her mug. "I owe you an apology. For how I treated you. For the things I said at that party. I was wrong." I didn't say anything. I let her continue. "I didn't realize how much I hurt you," she said softly. "I got so wrapped up in my world, I didn't see what I was doing to you. You didn't deserve that. You deserved more." Her voice was sincere. "I believed that much." "I appreciate you saying that," I replied. "But why now?" She looked down, stirring her drink. "This year's been rough. Work's been overwhelming, and I've had a lot of time to think. I can't undo what I did. But I needed you to know I'm sorry." For a second, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "I'm glad you've had time to reflect," I said. "But an apology can't erase what happened. You didn't just hurt me, Lisa, you made me feel like I wasn't enough. That's not something I can forget." Her eyes welled with tears, but she nodded. I understand. I stood, lighter than I had in months. Take care of yourself. Walking out of that cafe, I felt something I hadn't expected, release. Her apology hadn't repaired anything, but it gave me the closure I didn't realize I needed. And life? Life soared after Lisa. My company reached new levels. One of my proudest projects was a corporate landscaping redesign, ironically, for a building just down the street from Lisa's firm. The irony wasn't lost on me. What she once mocked as mowing lawns had become something elite, something respected. Outside of work, things flourished too. I reconnected with old friends, spent more time in nature, and eventually started dating again. One connection became something real. Megan. We had known each other in college, but life had pulled us apart. When we reconnected, everything just clicked. She was warm, quick-witted, and, most importantly, she genuinely valued who I was and what I did. One evening, as we strolled through a park I had designed, she turned to me and said, "You build beauty." Not many people can say that about their job. That one sentence healed parts of me I didn't know were still hurting. Lisa had made me doubt my worth. Megan helped me remember it. Looking back, I can see it clearly now. That breakup, as painful as it was a necessary turning point. It forced me to reassess what I needed from a relationship, and from myself. I learned I deserve respect. I deserve someone who sees me, not someone who looks down on me. Now, my life is exactly where I want it to be. My business thrives. My relationships are deeper. And I have someone beside me who truly understands my worth. Sometimes, the hardest choices lead to the greatest rewards. And to anyone stuck in a place where they feel dismissed or undervalued, don't stay there. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to demand more. You deserve it.